Hi, in this video, let us discuss about scope of a bean in Spring Framework. So let us see one code sample for that. We create a Maven project now. We select this checkbox, create a simple project, and give this group ID and artifact ID. Artifact ID as the project name. We give bean scope. Now the project has been created. Next step is we have to update this pom.xml file. When we create a Maven project, initially the pom.xml file would be empty. So we need to enter the entries related to the jar files we are going to use it in our project. In this case, it is a Spring project, right? So we need the jar files related to Spring Core. So we need the entries related to that. So what we do is let us copy from the existing project. Okay, so I just open this form.xml from the existing project and copy the entries from there and paste it here. So here we have these entries. So let us copy this and paste this into this form.xml. Okay, so now it is done. The next step is we need to create the Java bean for that. So let us create a package first, com.training as a package, com.training. So inside this package, let us create a class called car. Right. So we have created the class. This is a Java bean. Okay. So now next step is we need to configure this Java bean in the XML file. So that is why we have to use an XML file to configure this Java bean. Then only the Spring container will understand or recognize this bean and it will manage the life cycle of the bean. So next thing is you have to configure this bean in a XML file. For that we will copy the existing copy it from the existing project. Okay, so I just copy this and paste it inside our project. Okay, now it is copied. So let us go to this config.xml file. So inside this file we need to configure the beans, right? So we have this car bean. Okay, so I have we have this entry at line number 10. We configured this car bean. So class name we have to use the bean id, and class is equal to com.training.car and id as my car. Okay, id as my car. Okay, so scope in the sense how many instances are created in the in this project, in this application. So there are actually scope, like we have singleton scope, we have prototype scope, we have session scope. Okay, so we see here singleton and prototype. Singleton means only one instance would be created and it will be always used. The same instance will be used again and again. For example, the default scope is also singleton. So in this case, for default scope, we don't have to mention the scope attribute. We don't have to use the scope attribute. So by default, the Spring Java beans are singleton. That means only one instance is created and that is shared in this application. Okay. So let us also have a main class. Okay, so I will copy the main class from the existing project and paste it in our project. Okay, so I have the main class now. So now the see the main class. So inside the main class, what we have done is we have at line number 12 we have created the object of class path XML application context, which is nothing but a Spring container. Okay, so we pass the config.xml file name to the constructor of this class path XML application context. Once we created this object, we call the getBean method and pass this id my car. So this method will return the car object instance. Okay, so car1 equal to context.getBean method. So this will return you the car object instance. And at line number 16, again we call the context.getBean method. Again we are passing the my car as an ID. So it will also return the car object instance. So we store this instance into the car2 reference variable. Okay, so we check whether both instances are same or not. So for that we are comparing these two car instances, and the result would be a boolean value that we will store it in the boolean variable is same. Okay, so since it is a singleton, right, that means only one instance would be created and that is used always. So let us check whether both the instances are same or not. If both instances are same means only one instance is used. So we are printing both are same object, and we are also printing the boolean variable. Okay, so let us run this code and see the output now. See, both are same objects, true is printed. That means both object references are same. So now what we do is we go to the config.xml file and we use the attribute called scope. So we assign value prototype to scope. Okay, so let us assign value prototype. So if the scope is prototype, that means every time new instance would be created. So in our case, see, we call the getBean method and we returns a car object reference. Then second we are calling at line number 16, again we are calling the getBean method. It returns the object reference. So since it is a prototype, the scope is prototype, a new instance will be created every time. So how do we check it? We are comparing these two instances. If both are not same, then we will get the boolean value as false. So let us run this code and see the output now. See, both are same object, false is printed. That means both instances are different. So because it is the scope is prototype. Okay, so this is the simple code sample to understand the scope